We potentially just got a first look at what the HUD could look like for Bleach Rebirth of Souls. So this image has been going around on Twitter for a minute now, and I wanted to kind of talk about it because I've seen a lot of people asking if this is real or fake, and I wanted to give my 2 cents on it. So first and foremost, do I think it's fake? There are some signs to me personally that make me think this could potentially be fake. So the first thing is, I don't remember what you call these things, but like the profile pic UI stuff, I don't know if that's the correct terminology for it, but basically the depiction icon for the characters, right? So these particular scenes or icons are right outside of the trailer. Like they're basically from the trailer. I remember this particular scene for Ichigo because it's like whenever he pulls his Zanpakuto up and then it says his name. And then this particular scene for Renji, he's also throwing his Zanpakuto up. And this is actually like picture for picture from the trailer that we just got. So it'd be very easy for somebody just to pull these out, put a black and white on it, put a little gradient on it and throw it up here. I mean, symmetry is very nice. Somebody who did it was a very good designer, but it definitely seems like that's a little fishy. This particular screenshot as well kind of sticks out for me because we just got done looking at the Steam stuff in another video. If you guys haven't checked that out, make sure to do so. But this doesn't necessarily mean much in terms of like it being 100% foolproof, right? Because this could just be the HUDless version of that screenshot. Companies do that from time to time, or they'll have a particular screenshot that's like, you know, taken without the HUD and they throw it up on Steam because they just weren't ready to show it. And then obviously when they, you know, are ready to show it, they have the same screenshot that would have the HUD. But somebody made a comment that this is from a reseller basically, and they were kind of going through it. You can actually see that this person was like going through their images, ignore my images, but they were going through theirs. And so this is like a screenshot or some sort of shot within the gallery of whatever they're looking at. And it just kind of throws me off a little bit based on the UI stuff and the actual particular screenshot. It also seems like this HUD is very big for what type of game it's going to be, because this seems very like 2D fighter type of thing, right? This definitely doesn't seem like this would be in a 3D game, but obviously I don't know much about UI design. Well, let's go ahead and treat it as if it's real. That's another part of the video I wanted to do because it's kind of interesting, right? So if this does end up being real, we can talk about some different mechanics and stuff. There's a couple of numbers and stuff I wanted to talk about real quick that are kind of obvious, like your timer, you got your hit counter here, and you got your health bar. So those are all just kind of things that are very normal in fighting games and arena fighters and stuff like that. You got an EX bar, which is typical in some of the more, like I said, kind of 2D, 3D fighters, I guess, or 2.5D, I guess is what I want to call it for fighters. Typically, I don't see too much of these like EX bars specifically named that. You know, obviously Sparking Zero has like the key bar, which would be kind of considered that because you're able to charge it and you do different moves based on the key. But yeah, it looks like this is like our traditional fighting game style bar, which could definitely be the case. But you have some different mechanics here that throw me off a little bit. You have a lot of stuff that seems like it's just kind of put in here. For example, the rebirth stuff. So obviously it's the name of the game. So obviously this could be a mechanic. This could potentially be led to the one-shot thing that a lot of people were talking about and kind of shown on the Steam page, where they talk about being able to kill somebody with one particular move. So this could be something you have to get 2 of these diamonds, you go into rebirth mode, get your whole entire gauge, and then you're able to use this one-shot move. So it takes all these resources to be able to do it. The 46 throws me off a little bit because it seems like, I'm not really sure what the 46 means, because it's definitely not like halfway or almost halfway to this bar. So it definitely doesn't seem like it's tied to this particular bar, but maybe it just means like after the rebirth you get a certain amount, because over here with Renji's bar, he doesn't have rebirth and he doesn't have a number. So it kind of throws me off why there's a random 46 in terms of like what I'm trying to look at. Because at first I thought it was maybe like an exact precision on where the actual meter itself is, but Renji doesn't have one. And this is definitely not at 46. If I'm taking all 3 bars in consideration, this is not more than like almost half of what this bar would be. The other thing is you have a couple of different things to think about in terms of these. So these 2 9s make me kind of think again of Sparking Zero in terms of the like blast docks or like the skill counters, whatever you want to call them. These are things that could potentially be led into Bankai, which this bar technically could be as well. Maybe it has particular skills and abilities you can use based on the bar, which would be prominent for attacks. Maybe these are tied to more like buffs or debuffs or something. Maybe you have kind of like a similar thing as Sparking Zero where they can do like, I'm a proud Saiyan, and then they get buffs and do stuff like that. Maybe you could do, I'm a proud Soul Reaper, and you get really strong. I don't really know. Other than that, maybe these are also needed for the Bankai. You have to have a certain amount of these. You obviously have a certain amount of your EX gauge to be able to pull it off, but 9 seems excessive. You know, 9 seems like a lot to be able to have something just for like a Bankai or some sort of skill like that. So I think this would be something that falls in the realm of like kind of being a little bit too unbelievable, because I don't know what the max is in Sparking Zero, but I imagine it's like 4 or 5, which seems kind of doable. But 9, I can't imagine what it would be to be 9, in case like maybe It's like it just takes that much to get to Bankai. So if you're really going to get to Bankai, you have to pull like 7 of these. So it does take a little bit of time, and it's really one of those things you're going to have to think about using because you're going to use a lot of these points. Definitely could be something like that where it's like a real big give and take, a risk factor basically to be able to do this. The other thing that I've seen is this like little thing above the H, or like in front of the HP bar. And this makes me think that this is some sort of gauge for blocking or guarding. Obviously we can't see exactly, but Renji is blocking. So maybe this is like a chip damage type of thing. So you go through this entire thing, and then if you have this bar like kind of depleted, then it would chip damage you if you're just sitting there blocking. So you couldn't just sit there and continuously block forever. You would have to think about the chip damage, and potentially this bar, if it was not, you know, rechargeable, or if it took a long time to recharge, you would have to think about that as a resource as well. So you just wouldn't be able to sit there and mash block, especially if somebody has to take all this time to get to Bankai or do this like insane move with all this EX stuff and, you know, get all these bars maxed out. Because I imagine at this point, you'd almost have to max your bar out almost 3 times to be able to do something like that. And maybe this rebirth mechanic is like one time done, because you can see Renji kind of has it over here, but it's not nearly as like flashy. So Ichigo's ready to use it, or at least that's what it seems. So I don't necessarily know how much of this bar you need to do it. But that's some things that kind of just make me think that maybe it's a little fake, because there's exaggerated stuff, and this definitely seems like a way bigger UI than what you'd want to see in a game like this. But maybe it's just because I don't know enough about UI, or maybe I'm just being a little picky. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. I definitely think it's just not really fit for this type of game style, and I definitely think it would be more kind of shrunk down with different things being organized in a way that's just not so in your face. Because like usually this would be typical of like, you know, you got your 2D fighters and stuff where they're just kind of like right here in the open. You're going to have this maneuver all the time. And it's just always going to be kind of in a wonky way. So you're going to be overlapped on it quite a bit, it looks like. So I don't know, maybe it's just something that I just don't know too much about in terms of design or how it could be better. And maybe this definitely could just be like an early version of this, and they could revamp it, and this could be like an official thing, but they just weren't really happy with the way it looked. And so they're going to revamp it, which is why I thought it'd be interesting to talk about some of these, because these mechanics definitely could be real, and maybe this HUD is just kind of like a, you know, early representation of what it is, but the idea is here with some of the different stuff. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Sub to the channel if you guys want more Bleach Rebirth of Souls, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.